Vermicompost or worm compost is a form of compost that can be done really easily in an urban setting. I live in a small apartment and I don't have access to a compost pile, so I do all the composting for my family in my house under my kitchen sink in a worm bin. And today we're going to talk about how we change the bedding for our worms. It's the most intensive part of the entire process. The rest of the time I don't have to think about it at all. But anyone who's considering a worm farm should know that this is part of it and something that's very important that you do. And I'm going to show you all the stages of the worm development that you want to extract from your compost before making your tea, because you don't want to drown your worms and have to start over at, square one, rebuilding your community. So we're going to start here in our compost bin, and we're just going to grab, and I'm doing this out in the sun, and what I'll do is I'll take piles of this compost here from my bin, and as you can see, the worms are in there ready to go, and this stuff's really good. It's gross. And we're going to make a cone out of this for the worms, and we have it in the sun because that will cause the worms to retreat inward and downward, and it'll make it easier for me to scrape the top half of this off, and I'll have to dig through it looking for worms. So any worms I see, I'm going to grab, and we're going to throw them in here, and this one's been setting, and so I'm going to break the top of it open and really, hopefully not have a lot of worms up here. See? They're going to be lower. But I'm going to peruse this for eggs, and for baby worms. So I'm not just going to throw it immediately into my compost tea or my compost curing. I'm going to want to look through that, and there are certain things that you're going to want to find to move over to your new bedding. And I've got that here if you want to show you. You're going to look for the full-size worms. You're looking for the eggs. You see these two little eggs? They just look like little seeds. You need to grab all the eggs that you can out. You need these adolescent worms, and then most importantly, the babies. See these tiny babies? And I'll post pictures of these on there. These guys are important, and they can even be translucent. See this tiny one crawling on him? You can miss that so easily in all that mess. And so you want to make sure that you get your hands on all these guys, so that whenever you change your bedding, you're not starting over on your worms. And after I have all this cleared out and I have all my worms and my eggs extracted, I'm going to move my compost either here, or I will make tea from it, which I'll show you later. But what I'm doing here is, you can see some compost that I emptied out yesterday. I'm drying it. I just have it on some sort of surface I can use to aerate it, like a screen or a blanket or sheet or something will work. And I'll just come and check on it as it's drying and break it up a little bit. I probably won't leave it in the full blazing sun. I'll probably cover it, but it's hot enough out here that it'll dry if I just let it sit out here for a few days. So that's how you're going to preserve your compost, and you can use that to you can reconstitute it later and make tea from it. But this is a great way to prolong your fertilization season from one bin changing. So there you go. Thanks.